Ladies and gentlemen, the late British Prime Minister Winston Churchill once said that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And to address us on the topic, Fear Fosters Failure, I present to you a man who has been intimate with both the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, a justice of the peace, chartered financial consultant, author, consumer advocate, motivational consultant, television show host, and our presenter today, Dr. Godfrey McAllister.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Fear fosters failure. Each word in that topic is important. But probably the more important of the three, or the two most important words would be fear and failure. In my typical unconventional style, let me start from the back. And let me deal with the word failure. Fear is not something that we are necessarily conscious of or think about. It's usually a subconscious response, an inherent predisposition. But the word that we are all very concerned about, or the concept with which we identify and which we dread, is the concept of failure. I put it to you that there is no man, no woman in this audience here today who wants to fail. Nobody wants to fail their midterm exam. Nobody wants to fail their end of term exam. Nobody wants to fail that job interview. Nobody wants to fail that interview for promotion. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to turn down. No man wants to approach a woman who tells him no. Nobody wants to fail. Not merely not wanting to do something, or not merely not wanting something to happen to you, is not enough. You've got to take responsibility for what happens to you. In one of my books, I coined these words. If something goes wrong in my life, it's my fault. I'm giving little snippets of several lectures, putting them together. That's a lecture by itself. And it's another one of those things that you will disagree with me initially. How could it be my fault? I did not, I am not listening to you. Something goes wrong in your life, it's your fault. It's either that you did something that you should not have done, or you did not do something that you should have done. It gets more difficult now. Or you allowed something to be done to you that you should not have allowed to be done to you. Or you did not allow something to be done to you that you should have allowed to be done to you. It's always one or more of those four that places responsibility squarely at your door. You see, when we understand that we and we alone are responsible for our success or failure, that takes care of a lot of the unproductive adventures and escapades on which so many of us engage. Escapades and blaming others. It's his fault, it's my fault, it's his fault, it's my fault. Only my fault. Okay. So if I fail, it's my fault, and my fault alone. I don't have the time today to challenge you, to give me a scenario, and not a hypothetical one this time, but a real one, a real scenario. But I say this to you: you give me any scenario, I'll show you it was your fault. And guess what? Just in case, it was really, 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 really not entirely your fault, cheat a little bit. Trick yourself a little bit. And tell yourself it was your fault. You know why? Until you are convinced that it is your fault, you will be able to do nothing about solving the problem. So long as it is somebody else's fault, then somebody else must solve the problem. That's how the mind works. And if you blame yourself 80%, but 20% that person, you will deal with the 80% perhaps, but you can't deal with the 20%. For how can you deal with that which you have not owned? So even if you have a little suspicion that really, it may not be totally your fault, I'm saying, we cheat sometimes when we shouldn't cheat, so this time we should cheat. Cheat a little bit. And tell yourself it's your fault. Then the whole business of corrective therapy can begin, because you've taken full responsibility. So fear fosters failure, and I am afraid of failing. I am literally petrified. I am afraid of failing. I do not want to fail. What is fear? I suggest to you that fear, in most cases, is an irrational emotion. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been asleep in bed and you wake up in the middle of the night and you see something like a duppy outside your window? You know what a duppy is? Ghost. And then to make it worse, the ghost making songs. Irrational, huh? Please.